face-off in order to place your bets. And this next matchup against Googly Bobbers at Hammer Time, I think it's going to be pretty split, real kill between the two teams on who the audience is rooting for.
I'm fairly split right now, too. While I would love to say Hammer Time's going to take it, the Googly Bobbers are a very surprising team in that they're just absolutely insane. They have completely lost their minds, and their strategies are awesome because of it.
Well, one of the audience members on Twitter, Shifty Jammo, said this. He says, I want to see the Googly Bobbers advance to the finals. Their no camping and hashtag hold my beer play style is so very, very tasty. Oh, well said. That's been the question of the day today. Which teams out of the bottom of the Bravo division do you want to see make it the finals? Let us know on Twitter and on Facebook. All right, let's talk about these two teams. Let's talk about what happened last week with them. First off, Go Bob. They're near the bottom. They're just above Gong Fu. They're still there. Gong Fu's still at the bottom. Now they face Hammer Time. Now, when it comes to Spectrums, Go Bob is all over the place. They've been on both sides. Tonight, they have to be on their A game. And if they take this series, it will launch them forward in the division, closer to that spot they want to be in to make it to the finals. If not, there is no finals for Googly Bobbers.
It's the make or break.
It's make or break. Yeah. Make or break for a good seed, at least in the playoffs itself. But
they can maybe get to the tiebreakers, then to playoffs, then make it. But that is an incredibly difficult task. If they win tonight, that makes it so much easier, and it really hurts Hammer Time's ability to actually make it to the finals.
Yeah, Hammer Time is, well, they were above River of Blood, and now I believe they're right above Cunningham's, unless, of course, they win, against Googly Bobbers, unless they're able to win tonight. So this is more their match to lose because of the skill we've seen from Hammer Time. But again, this is Hammer Time that was taken to a tiebreaker by Bernal Empires, which was a big upset. Even though they won, Bernal Empires was up 2-0 in that matchup, and I can't forget that at all to see where they were in that series.
Yeah.
Now, they had a tiebreaker again against the Cunninghams, and that was a loss. They're currently 5th in their division before the matches tonight began. And if they win tonight, it's going to propel them into a top 4 slugfest that we could see in the Bravo division, as we're going to determine who's not going to be tied anymore in Week 6 and Week 7. But that's how it goes. The closer that we get, the outlier-type teams kind of stay at the bottom, and the ones that have a little bit of hope band together. We've seen it happen multiple times with River of Blood, but they're able to pull it together and actually make it to have a chance to make it to the finals. So, with that being said, I welcome the two team leaders to our face-off. Gentlemen, good evening.
Good evening.
Let's start off with the Googly Bobbers. You had a roster change. Tell us about that. Tell us about the roster changes.
Basically, we subbed out Guncom for I Am Crises, and that's basically just because Guncom was inactive, and Crises is active and is a really good player. So it was just a smart decision so that maybe we could have one more person if we don't have all 7 one day, instead of having only basically a 9-person roster.
Can you tell me what happened last week against Refuse to Die?
We were missing Zombie Food and Host, the Bananas. So that they're kind of like basically our main battle colors. And that's pretty much why we lost. We weren't really prepared. And, just weren't on our A game.
Yeah. Do you feel you're on your A game tonight, though? Do you have all the elements that makes the Googly Bobbers the Googly Bobbers?
Definitely, 100%.
All right. Let's check in with Hammer Time. Week number 5, 5th place in the division. Drynitz, how would you measure your performance over the last 4 weeks?
We've had issues pretty much every week. So as far as it goes so far, I'm not too disappointed, but definitely could have done better.
Are you going to be bringing that A lineup that you're ideally looking for today?
First time since week 1, we have everybody.
Oh.
Hooray.
All right. Well, now both teams are going to be bringing their A game with their full rosters. Do you have any words for Googly Bobbers, Hammer Time, before we start?
Oh, good luck.
Spoon, any words?
America. Good luck. Have fun.
Hey, America.
America. All right, gentlemen. Thank you. We'll see you on the battlefield.
Let's see ya.
Isn't Spoon Canadian?
Yeah, I think it says it's like America,
America.
which is like
Yeah.
America.
One of the funny things about going to foreign countries is to explain to them that America pretty much means the United States, and then Canada and Mexico
Are
are
our
like
hats and pants.
Well, it's North America, but when you say America, it means the United States. Like that doesn't make any sense. Yes, it does. It makes sense to us.
We own it.
Let's take a look at the rosters. They did mention Crises, who has replaced Guncom. Hammer Time. I don't believe there's any roster changes.
No changes.
All the same.
They've got all the guys they want. They've got all the skill they want, and they are going to perform well tonight.
All right. Well, that does it for the rosters. I'm going to look forward to how Liebestad is going to perform if we see him tonight, because he's a fun guy.
He is certainly good.
All right.
Also, watch out for, of course, Trinitz and NYPD.
Yeah.
I mean, every
course.
single week, NYPD just wrecks face.
He does well. He does well. That does it for the individuals, Rookhill. What can you tell me about the rules for victory for these
All right,
teams?
first, we went over this a little bit before. You may have heard it. The A-team. If Hammer Time's got that A-team, they can make it work because they will have all of the strategies they've practiced for, all of the tactics they are trained together in, and all of the coordination they need to do this. Rule number 2 is Enfield. For the Googly Bobbers, Enfield is the top damage dealer. His role on that team is to deal damage. There is no scouting damage he has. He has almost no track-assisted damage. Every other stat aside from damage suffers for Enfield. He is highly focused on just dealing damage. If he dies, the support coming from other players like Bananas and Baronish will not be as effective, because Baronish and Bananas are the kind of guys who are getting spotting damage. They're the kind of guys who are tracking tanks and getting assists from that. They are high performers in that, just barely under Enfield in the damage. That needs to happen. Enfield needs to die for Hammer Time to do well, or Enfield needs to live for Googly Bobbers to do well. Keep on bobbing is rule number 3. And Googly Bobbers is just a silly team. If you ever listen to their comms, they have all sorts of nonsense going on. Sure, keep it up. I'm on board. I was not first. I thought it was a little bit not serious, but now I'm learning that they just perform well when they are relaxed and having a good time.
And if that works, why change it? Why change it? Here we go. Battle number 1 for our second match of the night. Hammer Time versus Googly Bobbers. The map is mine. Rookhill, what do we have for tanks?
For tanks, we have a 5100, T32, T69, and 2 1390s, along with, of course, 2 T1 Cunninghams. For Hammer Time, Googly Bobbers will bring an IS-3, 2 T32s, 2 WZ-132s, and 2 T1 Cunninghams. Those WZ-132s, they've got to be going for the hill.
They've got to be. Let's follow them. Zombie Food and Spoon, hand in hand, tank and tank, ready to drop some pain on Hammer Time here. Are they taking the bait in the center? No, they're not.
They've sent Zazie and NYPD off to the east, in fact. An early hit squad move. They might be able to pick off Tuxzilla in that early fight. Overlord Prime does not take any damage from Spoon, who tries to get a little shot in edgewise, but cannot. Drynets and Photo Finish are going to be able to hold the bottom of the hill. And NYPD and Zazie are going all the way around. They don't even care. They are not stopping. They're in the backfield already. They're taking fire, but over the top, Overlord Prime moving on up. Drynets and Photo Finish. It is a flank on the tanks below the hill. Sovereign Zool is down.
Zombie Food still up top, trying to figure out what's happening. Cannot get a shot on Overlord Prime after a second one. He is blocked by Photo Finish, who's keeping Overlord Prime alive during the reload. The 2 WZ-132s are out of the main firefight. But have they done enough damage to stop NYPD and Zazie? Zazie has fallen. Sovereign Zool is down for Googly Bobbers. Overlord Prime is super low. NYPD goes down. Drynets reloading. Bananas to the wall takes down Overlord. Googly Bobbers were able to hold against this well. However, look at Anfield and Bananas to the wall host solo, along with the WZ-132s, Zombie Food and Spoon.
That's it. There's so much health on 2 Chariots of Hammer Time, but there is so little health on the tanks of the Googly Bobbers. They are very easy to kill. And now Bananas to the wall host has actually a beautiful hull down behind a dead tank. Photo, though, sneaks one in and gets 224
and
damage.
Drynets knows that Bananas low. Oh, he takes a shot. It bounces. It hits the track. And Drynets is able to get Bananas to the wall host.
Now Enfield, sitting below the hill, is pinned. He was spotted. He's gone dark. And I think Drynets knows that Spoon is going to be flanking. They know that the Googly Bobbers are coming behind them, and they will surround them, get on this cap, and try and make it happen. Enfield, though, gets a shot, and now from the back, Spoon getting shots.
Spoon landing a nice hit against Photo Finish as him and Drynitz are trying to stay in the firefight, but Spoon is in such a great position. The speed.
Drynitz bounces on Enfield.
The speed of these WC-132s to get behind where Hammer Time thought that they could move in, creep in slowly. Photo Finish goes down. Drynitz is the last one.
Enfield barely loaded in time. Literally a fraction of a second later, and he would not have gotten the shot. It would have been the T-32. And then Enfield gets it again! And the final kill for the Googly Bobbers.
Well done by the Googly Bobbers to hold off against Hammer Time there. That was very impressive. The thing is, though, Eastern play on mines is not working for any team that's choosing it in the first minute.
It was a good strategy. Its execution and timing were off. The tanks in the middle for Hammer Time were a few seconds behind. The 1390s do not need to begin that engagement. What they need to do is come in exactly in the moment that the engagement is beginning to the south. When the Hammer Time tanks roll over, begin getting the attention of those tanks, then the 1390s need to come behind. Just then. But what happened in that fight was the 1390s came in, grabbed the attention, and then the big heavy tanks from Hammer Time rolled up. That was not how that strat was supposed to go for Hammer Time. I know they did not plan it that way, and that is why the execution was so very close and why it did not succeed. To Googly Bobber's credit, though, Clutch, they did an excellent job of dealing damage, and those WC-132s did work.
I'm going to remember this battle for a while to study the performance of WZ-132s in the mid-game, because this consistent fire was a constant threat against tanks that were reloading for Hammer Time, and their speed was amazing in this scenario because they got behind the danger of where Hammer Time was on top of the hill. They were at the hill, and look at Spoon. They've left the hill. They're now on the water side, and he lands multiple shots into Photo Finish in this WZ-132. And since it's a consistent fire tank, he didn't have to wait for the reload. He wasn't out of the engagement. Him and Zombie Food were ready to go at all times.
Yes, that is exactly what needed to happen. And because of that, all the consistent fire tanks, Enfield at the top, Spoon right below him, and Zombie Food were the three top damage dealers for the Googly Bobbers. Enfield was 10 for 10. All 10 shells on that IS-3 connected, all 10 penetrated, leaving him just under 3k damage. He would have gotten 3k if he were not finishing tanks off and not dealing the highest potential damage. You only get credit for, 100 health of damage if the tank only has 100 health, even though your shell could roll for 390 damage, IS-3. But the WZ-132s just were doing work, pumping out good damage and making good hits. Now, Zombie Food missed, unfortunately, a lot, but Spoon was making the shots count. You talked about that late in the game.
Yep, 7 for 8 on Spoon. Zombie Food, wasn't making it as many, but Spoon had those shots, though, in order to get him against Hammer Time. So well done, good defense, good tactics of mobility using the WZ-132s in the mid-game. But now it's a different story because we're on a city map. That is Himmelsdorf, between the Googly Bobbers and Hammer Time, and anything can still happen between these two teams. Rootkill, what do we have for tanks?
For tanks, we have 3 AMX 5100s and 2 IS-3s, along with 2 T1 Cunninghams. For Hammer Time, Googly Bobbers, 4 AMX 5100s, a T69, and 2 T1 Cunninghams. That's a weird lineup. Very strange choice bringing a T69 when IS-3s are present.
It's just a complete opposite of what they were bringing on mines in terms of consistent fire tanks.
Yeah.
These are all auto-loaders.
It is very strange. And now, right at the beginning, Overlord Prime, Photo Finish, blind fire to the south. Do they get any connections, Clutch?
I see no connections.
No. All right. That is a cute thing that they've worked into their strategy. Wait. That's got to be ram damage.
That's got to be ram damage, yeah.
Photo Finish.
A hit would have killed him.
I liked that from Photo Finish and Overlord Prime. Consistent fire tanks, if you have a line down which you can fire early in a match, that even if you don't spot the tanks, you have a chance of connecting, go for it. It's one of the things that I do when I play artillery, rarely, but when I do, you just let one go right at the beginning. Those guys, that's where the spawn is. I've got a shell. I'm not going to see tanks for another
Fly,
minute.
be free! First shot.
Just the Hail Mary shot,
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. No
spotting happening. Overlord Prime is seen from Tuxzilla. Tuxzilla dodges 2 shots. Counts as lucky stars and starts hugging the bricks. Oh man, a third one hits the brick building right next to him.
Drynitz is taking damage. He's down to almost half health, 803, exposing himself just a little bit too much. Zazie, though, forcing tanks to put their heads down as NYPD and him are able to at least hurt Spoon almost as much. He's down to 848 hit points.
3 of the tanks from Go Bob, 3 of the tier 8s are up top. Zombie, Anfield, and Sovereign Zool. They're looking for any potential fire or line of sight towards the tanks where Hammer Time are positioned, but no dice yet. None of them are committing past the Delta line.
Yeah, and to the east, Kriegs is going to be able to find them eventually. Sovereign Zool, of course, still on the hill, and Zombie and Enfield, of course, up there as well. He's going to eventually find them, and that may show Hammer Time where they are, the fact that there's a split, and give them the opportunity to push. When that happens, I don't know, because they're not moving towards each other quite yet.
Spoon did take some damage, a long-range fire fight, and he's going to pull out of his position and go towards the east.
Shifting. They're going to begin setting up to break this position. They know where Hammer Time's set up defensively. Let's just kind of get ready for that. They're not going to waste too much time in the south taking an inferior attack.
Tuxilla fires towards Sunnyvale. No dice,
A little damage.
but no death.
Not yet. No, now there is the spot. Kriegs is lit, fires at Armor Ghost, and he has not spotted the tanks coming from the hill. Armor
No.
Ghost has forced him into a less aggressive spotting position. And because of that, if he can get the kill, that can allow tanks from the Googly Bobbers to...
Kriegs
Nope.
is able to spot Sovereign Zool, the T-69. That's a huge indicator of information for Hammer Time to know to pull back because Tier 8s are in their home turf on the 0 line.
And they will begin returning Giants, moving back to the north. Zazie, NYPD, all returning to base.
Look at these tanks up Tank Alley. Spoon, Bananas to the Wall Host, they're together. And now they have great map control for being in the position to put pressure on the flag, but more to start a significant brawl because they have revealed their position all the way to the north, but not the tanks down Delta. And if they can catch Hammer Time off guard, which could happen right now, Spoon pulls back.
Oh no, Photo and Overlord are in not strong position. Overlord taking one shell, almost putting himself in a crossfire. Photo as well. They're going to have to back up and give ground. They do not have the posture to be able to deal with the position of the Googly Bobbers right now.
As Spoon pulls up, Armor Ghost falls back down the 3 line. He's going to try to scout any of the tanks that are in the west. He sees NYPD. He doesn't see Dryness yet, but that's another good indicator to show where are all these tanks. Are they fully committing to the flag? They're not. They have to watch their flanks down the Delta line and up the 5 line, and they're pulling some of their tanks back to prepare. Photo Finish takes another hit. So does Zazie. Googly Bobbers is playing this almost textbook perfect here.
Yep, there is an answer to the northwest position. Approach from the southeast, make the cap pressure happen, flank from the south if you can, and you'll be able to make it happen. It's just...
Here goes Bananas. Here goes Bananas. He sees NYPD, misses a shot, takes 2 big hits. He needs to fall back. Anfield gets tracked, and these 5100s have taken a lot of damage. They're trying to spread the HP, but NYPD takes down Bananas to the Wall Host, and there goes Anfield. NYPD and Drynet's still alive, but Spoon gets one. Can he get the other one?
I don't think so. He's going to have to back off and salvage the situation. Overload Prime and Photo Finish are doing an excellent job in the meantime of holding the north. Sovereign Zool down by 778 health. Zombie Food trying to cover the cap. Sovereign gets on the cap and a bounce.
Spoon able to take down both those tanks, but Zazie is going to be chasing him. He needs to get out of there because he's going to be out of shots. Zazie has 2. If he can serpentine one of them, he could still stay alive here. And Zazie waits for it. Spoon tries a serpentine. He can't.
And now Zombie Food is forced to retreat from the cap. The only tier 8 left. He will be chased. 4 minutes and 38 seconds left. But there is, I believe, a tank on the southern cap. That is Son of A.
Has to be Son of Hail. Well, Bananas to the Wall Host, they knew one tank was there, but they never scouted Drynets. And because of that, they overcommitted. Zombie Food gets hit.
They were off with the timing. Just like Hammer Time on Mines being off with their timing, Googly Bobbers here with their flank was off in the timing.
And Overlord is able to get it. Hammer Time ties up the series 1-1. This is a scenario where you make the call, you go for it, and unfortunately you didn't have that one piece of information that stopped your whole strategy.
Yeah.
The timing thing, I agree with you. But if they had noticed Drynitz before, like he gets scouted right where Bananas to the Wall Host peeks around that corner, and then from there it's we didn't know this type of fire was going to be headed towards us. And Spoon does a great job locking down those two tanks. So he gets the kill against Drynitz, but he's out of the firefight for too long because of it.
Yeah, that's what it was. They moved for that flank, and I don't like that because in the north you don't have tanks also creating enough of aggression. There's nothing focused. There's no huge overmatch, and that's what you have to have in order to win against a defensive position like that. You pull their attention with an undermatched amount of tanks, 1 to 2, maybe 2 to 3, 2 to 4, and you bring 3 on 1 or 3 on, just as long as you have greater than numbers, you can win. That's all you need, and there was no greater than numbers for the Googly Bobbers at any time. They took fire from more tanks than they were putting in.
It's numbers. 3 is greater than 2.
It's it. We've seen very few situations where 1 or 2 tanks actually hold off greater numbers, and that comes down to positioning and skill. And the position of Hammer Time is such that you must bring greater numbers in order to win. You cannot aggress in that position with an inferior force.
You can't. You can't. No matter how well you place your tank to bounce the shots, you don't want to risk that. But if this came down to information gathering, they didn't have that. And to the credit of Drynitz, he didn't get scouted by that. And so he was able to be that card that burned Googly Bobbers.
Well, next map will be Cliff. An open map, not city, which should be a little bit different. I don't feel as confident about Hammer Time on Cliff. Googly Bobbers should do excellently, I expect. And that could be a big change for us.
Do they see the same type of opening going in the center and having a who oversteps the line first and takes damage, or will we see a one-line play coming from some of the lighter tanks that are chosen? Depends on what tanks are chosen. Rookhill, what do we have for tanks?
We have an AMX 5100, 2 T69s, 2 1390s, and 2 T1 Cunninghams for Hammer Time. Googly Bobbers will bring a Pershing, 4 1390s, and 2 T1 Cunninghams. 2, 1, battle begins.
Sovereign Zool and Armor Ghost, will they be the only ones heading to the one line? That looks like it. Well, maybe only Sovereign Zool.
Maybe.
Armor Ghost actually going with all of the tankers from Googly Bobbers that are in the tier 8s into the center. I believe the same thing's happening for Hammer Time. Only 1 T1, Son of Hail heading to the one line.
This looks like a very normal setup for both teams. They'll meet in the middle, like you said, and they'll probably fight it out from their NYPD, going for the early cross position to stop tanks from getting into position. Tuxilla may take fire.
He's the only one scouted. Now Zazie.
Bananas will cross, but does not take fire.
All tier 8s are scouted for Hammer Time. He takes 1 hit from NYPD. NYPD fires again, misses.
Spoon needs to work on his position, and that is it, and he is able to make a connection. Another one does not connect, barely, and Baronish is getting caught out and jumped on. He is on fire, and he will go down.
That's a tough place for Spoon to be in, because you know Zazie's up there, but if they're focusing on his one teammate, he needs to return fire in that position. Spoon takes another hit, but Drynitz is so low. He wants to get the kill. He can't get it. Zombie Food is able to take it, but then Zazie has the high ground, and he is raining fire down on Bananas and the rest of the Googly Bobbers that have moved closer to the donut. Tuxilla super low.
Look at Zombie Food. He just walks right down the middle. Doesn't even care. Now NYPD moving in onto Spoon. This is crazy play. Why is Hammer Time doing this? I don't understand this tactic, because NYPD is probably going to go down for this. He does not have shells.
Zombie Food with the snapshot couldn't get it. Overlord Prime is 4 shells ready in his T69, the finisher tank. Zombie Food takes 2 bounces, gets hit in the turret, a hit in the hole, another one, and he falls. They focus fire with the isolation and get the kill. Googly Bobbers down 2 tier 8s. Hammer Time only 1. Overlord and Photo and NYPD are low.
They're in a very interesting position, which I'm a little bit worried about how it's going to perform. I think it's because Zazie is reloading. He's almost done. Behind him, somewhere, NYPD is going to go T1 hunting, actually. And now Zazie lining up a shot on, is that Spoon? Yes, he sees Spoon. They know his position, and he's going to go. He's focused. He's tunnel visioning in a little bit, maybe. As it does look like Bananas and Tuxilla to the west are gearing up to try and dig out Overlord Prime and Photo. There's some spotting. T1 about to go down.
Yeah, Armor Ghost falls and my PD gets it. Banana's still dancing back and forth next to the donut. It's what we call the hill that's in the 3-4 position. Bananas gets hit, tracked, and then hit. Oh, Photo Finish could get it. And he does. Bananas switched to Overlord Prime. Took a lot of damage, but did not fall.
Now
Tuxilla.
Tux.
Ah, missed. Missed shot.
From both sides. They both
And here
failed to
comes
connect.
Zazie.
He is at full health. He could just roll right in. No problems. Unless he bounces like that a few more times.
Yeah, and he
Overlord.
is able to get the shot. It's up to Spoon now. Spoon at 1 health. 1 health.
Wow, that low roll. RNG gracing Spoon, but can only do so much for him.
Now Sovereign Soul's going to shoot into the wind as the rest of Hammer Time is on the chase.
Just screaming, ah!
Going out like a bro, like a hero. He's going to run and he falls. Ammo racked, top of his turret flies into space almost, amount of damage being done to the T1 Cunningham. Hammer Time takes the lead 2-1 right now. I want to break down what I saw from the high ground because I love watching the high ground position of these tanks. Spoon's up top, able to land a couple shots in a Hammer Time. He falls back because Zazie is very, very close. One of his teammates starts taking a lot of damage, and Spoon, instead of moving up to try to stop that with damage from himself, he's worried about Zazie. Zazie has a clear shot. They keep raining fire into Googly Bobbers. Spoon leaves the area. He loses the high ground. Zazie is then uncontested as he fires more shots into the tanks that are next to the donut. From there, it started to spell doom for Googly Bobbers.
Yes, Googly Bobbers did not have the solid positions to cover every other member of their team, and Hammer Time did. Every single position that was exposing one tank was yet covered by another, and that is where the damage was dealt, and that's where the lead was taken. Also, focus fire right down the middle. Who was that first T8 to die? That would have been a 1390, and I think that was Baronish. Baronish did deal some good damage, but right in the middle, below Spoon, he tries to move up to get some damage. Spoon's dealing a little bit here. Guys from the east are dealing damage. He's trying to help out. He's trying to contribute. Unfortunately, he is not safe. He can't back off. He doesn't have a real retreat. And because of that, that's what Hammer Time jumped on first. That is the first tank they were able to focus out and kill. Following that, of course, they were a little risky in other areas, but it seemed to work out.
This is also a prime example for people that are new to esports World of Tanks is why you bring a mix of tanks compared to all 1390s or all 5100s. The T69s were so vital in this matchup because while the 1390s were either pulling back to get away from the firefight to either reload or they took too much damage, the T69s between those reloads were ready to go. And they did a lot of damage. Photo Finish 11 for 14. Overlord Prime 9 for 12. Both close to 2K. One over 2K, the other one at 1837. It's important to recognize why you have that medium tank in matches where you think, well, you want the most damage in a short amount of time. If you can spread it out and know the timings of the reloads and how the patterns of those reloads happen with your opponent or any opponent in World of Tanks, that's how you get wins like that.
Exactly. And now we're going to go into battle number 4 on Ruinberg.
All right, what do we have for tanks, Rukel?
2 AMX 5100s and IS-3 and 2 1390s, of course T1s both sides, against 3 5100s, 2 1390s. Again, Googly Bobbers going for that full auto-loader lineup.
This is Hammer Times to win. If a draw scenario happens, that means the best that can happen for either team is... No, the best that can happen for Googly Bobbers is a win in the next battle to take it to a tiebreaker. Hammer Time can play defensive.
And then we'd have to figure out who did more damage. And it's feeling right now like Hammer Time.
Yeah, and there's such a big advantage to that because you get to play the defender. Sand River would be the map if it goes to a tiebreaker. In the past, it was Corellia.
And that'll actually be the first time we get to see it.
If it happens.
If it happens.
I don't think it will.
You know?
I don't think we'll see a tie. I don't think we'll see a tie on this map.
Oh, or a tie at all.
If we do see one, we won't see one on the next one unless it's Abby.
If we see a tie, it'll be in. That was lame.
That's okay.
That was super lame.
2 out of 10.
2 out of 10. Would not joke again.
2 out of 10. Sovereign Zool falling back here. Staying back, rather. Close to the flag cap. Hammer Time has taken the Delta Village, but still one of the heavy tanks is near the F crossroads.
Here's to the north.
Here's my prediction. Long range fire. Whatever team has the HP value. Well, Kriegs is down.
Yeah, Kriegs is. But to the north, Armor Ghost, Bananas the Wall Host, they could get Son of Hail.
Yep.
And they're impacting very close to him. Not quite making the shots they need, but they could do it as various shells are going into dirt. I think they're going to give up, though.
I was considering some of the long-range firefights that can happen on this map, and the main place is here to the north with some traded fire, and what Victoria's Secret was able to do in an amazing play was to fake going to the north, fire a number of rounds, and then swing all the way south, all the way east, move up the 0 line, and then swing towards the northern village, and they were able to win.
Maybe.
Very impressive play from Victoria's Secret.
It requires quite a bit of coordination.
Oh, yes,
and also
does.
depending on your opponent's reaction. A strong reaction or a good read from your opponent can shut that down. But that's what the game is. It's trying to make your opponent, it's misleading your opponent. It's what every team is constantly trying to do. Every time they get a chance to, they try and get some kind of a lead, and if they don't get some kind of a lead there, they turn it into a misdirection. They try and shift gears, change direction, find a different angle of approach. Googly Bobbers has tried the north, could not get that one kill they were looking for, that blind fire into the bushes, and now they have to change their strategy.
Blind fire coming out of Zombie Food. Tuxilla is looking towards the opposite alleyway. Dryness and Zazie are in that direction, but no shots have landed. Zombie Food's going to go for the reload. 6 minutes, 50 seconds. Hammer Time can play, again, defensive. They are waiting for Googly Bobbers to make their move. And
that is a good point.
they have to, if they want to go for a win, rather than taking it to a tiebreaker, they have to win the next 2 battles, obviously, in this best of 5. But this is a tough place to be until you hit the 3-minute mark, where you go, hey, let's go for it. If this doesn't work, at least it's a tie. Hold the T1s back.
But not hold my beer.
Hey, they could turn it to some hold my beer tactics. It worked for them on mines. It's WC 132s. We're holding 6-packs, my friend.
That's completely crazy. Just running around. Not even just one.
In a cooler, yeah.
Just a case. A case on their shoulders, a boombox on the other.
That is their jam. WZ 132s. Go Bob, heading down to the south. Keeping one tank back up north. It's Armor Ghost. He's now cruising back down south.
Oh, and Son of Hail. Son of Hail might discover the Googly Bobbers. Bananas, the Wallhost, and Spoon are both moving to the south. Coverage from Zazie, coverage from Drynitz in just a moment. They may be able to catch a lead in this situation, and that could be ruin for Googly Bobbers.
This is what I talked about. Victoria's Secret's type of play, going all the way to the south and hugging the
Son of
south.
Hail is spotted. Shots fired by Spoon. Spoon is lit. And he misses again.
Oh, that's not good. Son of Hail is getting so much info.
Juke! So many jukes! So many wasted shots! And now Zazie is unloading in that direction. No connections yet. Again, Spoon also turning on the jukes. No connections. Drynitz trying to line up a shot. And nothing. They have lost a T1. Googly Bobbers is able to pick up a free T1 from Hammer Time.
Man, Son of Hail was the Duke of Jukes for a while until
I mean, you can only juke so long.
he got owned.
He was tracked. He had to be tracked before they could hit him.
Yep. He was like Boromir.
Just taking
Just taking arrows after arrows, yeah.
I mean,
Bananas is on the reload here. 4 minutes, 30 seconds. Enough time for a strategy to be implemented, but every tick of the clock brings us closer to a draw. That's not good for Googly Bobbers because that turns into a must-win scenario. in the next battle. Take it even to a tiebreaker, not 3 league points, but 1. NYPD takes down Sovereign Zool. There's the first T1 to fall for Googly Bobbers.
That's good for Hammer Time. Very, very good for Hammer Time. They need something like that, or else that was the cap waiting to happen.
4 minutes left.
Still time for Googly Bobbers to cap. Blind fire from Overlord towards the west. Is Googly Bobbers going to be able to make it back in time? How much time is it going to take?
350. If they cannot stop. If they're going to do this to the north, they cannot stop at all. Has to be a straight shot.
It's going to be incredibly difficult. They're down a T1. If they had the second one, I think that they would be able to cap very easily and competently. But you have to also consider Drynitz and Zazie being in 1390s and being able to flank very effectively. It's going to be difficult. Very difficult. Hammer Time should have the answer. They will not be able to counter cap. This is a draw for Hammer Time. They're going to wait for Googly Bobbers to either begin an engagement, and that is where they can get victory. Or, that's it. That's really it.
Yep.
They cannot aggress. Hammer Time cannot aggress. They will not win in any situation where they are aggressive right now against a team like the Googly Bobbers.
Bananas waiting for the tier 8s to catch up. 250.
They know it's coming. NYPD is returning to base. Hammer Time is going to be prepared for this, and they're going to possibly be able to defend. Drynitz is in Echo 7. He will be able to move to the west, into the city, come up to the north, and then be able to come behind to stop the cap. That's what I see him doing. Zazie, in the meantime, is going to be... Zazie.
They spot Overlord.
He's looking this out, verifying that there's nothing sneaky up. And he's going to be moving. That's it. That should be the trigger. And those 1390s should be going either to the west or back towards cap.
210.
There's not a lot of time left, Googly Bobbers. They do not have time to play around with this. They must get moving now.
And still they wait. 1 minute and 50.
Can't
Bananas
do this.
pushing up a little bit.
Can't
the
do
window's
this.
the window's gone.
It's a draw. Hammer Time's going to be able to hold long enough, and Googly Bobbers are not going to have enough time to cap. Now Drynitz and Zazie are going to return to base. They realize all they have to do is delay long enough. Bananas is just about there, and he's still not lit. They've just probably realized that they had the potential, and here's the completely insane push from Hammer Time. Just going right out in the open. They want to find a win. They know there's the potential if they can do it.
More shots fired as Banana hits one against Photo. Zazie's low. Hammer Time spreads out a little bit as Photo tries to pull a little bit more fire towards him. But not enough.
Actually, I really like the position Photo's taking up. It's costing him for this position, but from here, a cap is completely impossible.
Drynitz falls to Baranesh. Spoon takes charge with full health in the 1390. He's going to focus on Photo finish. 49 seconds left. Misses a shot on the run.
Is Hammer Time throwing pretty much? There's still enough time for them to get kills.
Wait, there is.
There's just enough time for the reloads to finish on the 5100s, but Zazie is going to get away. Okay, Zazie is just booking it. He's not staying around.
The T1s have been dead for a while, and I thought, well, why are you still staying in the fight? 25 seconds left. Zazie will escape. There's no way they can catch up to him. And there's not enough time for them to get the flag cap. Zazie completely out of the picture.
Run, Zazie, run.
8 seconds left.
Run, Zazie.
3, 2, 1, and it will be a draw.
All right. That gives some potential for us to go to the tiebreaker.
Potential, yes.
Will it happen?
Potential. No.
No.
Hammer Time can play completely defensively here, checking which map it will be in just a couple seconds. This, again, has to be Googly Bobbers' push into wherever Hammer Time is going to hold the line. And it's going to be really, really tough to break it. Can they break it? I mean, sure. Anything is possible. But it's
the A team of Hammer Time.
It's the A team, I know. It's also the A team of the Googly Bobbers. And sometimes if it's just, let's just go for it. Let's just go for it.
I've seen them break defensive plays
Yeah.
that I didn't think were possible, just with insane play that their opponent couldn't react to properly. I mean, you've seen the Cunninghams, I think, on the south of Mines. Perfect crossfires all over the place.
Ensk will be the map.
And Ensk. Oh my, that's going to be interesting.
Well, it's not Abbey, so it's not as simple.
It's going to be one of the same principles, I think. A cap fast will be the way I think Googly Bobbers will be forced to approach this simply because of the defensive play of Hammer Time.
So here's a prediction.
Okay.
All right. They're not going to try to throw it, obviously.
Of course.
That time is such a huge factor. 3 minutes. Googly Bobber says this make or break. We either go to a tiebreaker or we lose. Here we go. They go for it. Hammer Time's able to stop it. The T1s are gone. Or doesn't matter because a draw would mean a win for Hammer Time, and that's what happens.
I can see that happening.
If I'm wrong, I will be happy. I will be surprised, but
all right.
This type of map and this type of firefight that can occur, the key is going to have to be how you utilize fakes on the east and punishing any tanks moving across the railroad tracks. Not destroying them, not pushing down the railroad tracks, but punishing tanks across the railroad tracks with 1 or 2 shots.
But as you talk about the railroad tracks, that's probably the best way that Googly Bobbers are going to be able to approach and Hammer Time, as Hammer Time has the north spawn.
Yeah.
And most likely, of course, I think they're going to go to the northwest, a very strong defensive position. Attacking from the direct south in the west is not so good. I mean, it's a lot of risk to see if you're going to be able to make that fight work. The tracks are probably going to get them closer to the cap, closer to their opponent, and also allow them to screen the cap, get their T1s on, and then make it happen. They should probably also kill a T1 or 2 before they do that so they don't have any counter cap problems, and they don't have to deal with anything having to do with a T1 stopping the cap from a ninja location.
It's all up to Googly Bobbers here. Hammer Time can play defensive for the win since they're up 2-1. Battle number 5 on Ensk. Real kill. What do we have for tanks?
For tanks, we have 3 AMX 5100s, 2 IS3s, and 2 T1 Cunninghams for both teams.
Mirror matchup.
Matchup.
How appropriate to have that for battle number 5 between these two teams. I'm going to follow Spoon, who's been the action man for Googly Bobbers.
Surprising me, Hammer Time's going to be playing a head game. They're going to go to the northeast and defend the cap. Or maybe even play just general aggression. And Googly Bobbers are going to actually go to the west and south to begin their attack directly north from there. This is very similar to the SIP strategy that we used to see seasons ago. Their entire approach from the south was to gradually forward, and ever so slowly gain control of that block of the map. Kriegs has done a good job of destroying all the cover he can on the cap, and now he's going to retreat. Overlord Prime and Photo Finish staying defensive in some very interesting positions.
Go Bob. Crossing the F and E line towards Delta. Spoon hesitates a bit in the open road and then decides to push. They notice one light tank. Kriegs, now they see Photo Finish.
Oh, this is a very interesting play. Completely out of the expected.
Whoa. I'm a little bit concerned here for Hammer Time because there was not a full-on commitment from Googly Bobbers yet in the northwest. They were in the west, though.
And this is Hammer Time deciding, yes, we do have the advantage of 2 wins. However, let's catch them off guard. Let's be aggressive. Let's set the tempo. And we can force this to a draw if we don't like it, or we can just win and go with a 3-1, have a beautiful score and a beautiful record.
Just a little bit concerned with the timing here.
It's very early in the game.
Yeah, early in the game. And Spoon takes down Kriegs. Shot 1. Overlord Prime takes another hit, fires back, misses.
That went into where on his tank?
On Overlord Prime?
Oh, I see. Just below the turret ring. That's how it snuck in there.
Yeah. Spoon fires again. It's a miss. It's 3 shots coming out of the AMX 5100.
It was actually a track shot. That should work well for him in the future.
Oh, it tracked Overlord Prime?
It went right underneath the train because there's this small little gap underneath every train.
Very small. Let's take a look at that real quick.
Yeah.
Shot went through this window here. This gap right under the train is where it hit.
Precisely
Boom.
right there.
Nice shot.
You can only shoot between a few different kinds of train cars, but underneath almost every single train on Ensk. And actually, you should stay farther back from the trains because it makes the angle a little bit worse for whoever's firing at you, and more likely they'll just go into your track. Whereas if you hug the train, similar to what Overlord Prime is doing, you are actually easier to pen because there's a very small window.
What I really like what Hammer Time's doing is that they are keeping Googly Bobbers in a certain area. They are controlling their opponent's behavior. They're controlling their opponent's position.
Exactly.
And the scary thing is, though, just don't take too much damage doing it. But they're dictating what's happening in the battle. And that is power. That's control.
But Googly Bobbers have more options right now for counter-aggression, and I believe Zombie Food will be one of the tanks to exploit that. Sovereign Zool may be able to do that as well if he moves north in the T1. Bananas tracking photo finish. Just a little bit here and there. Maybe he'd fire HE, that'd be cute. Please do it, but Bananas, do it. Overlord Prime and Photo are well known in their positions, and a little bit of damage coming out from Sovereign Zool onto the tracks of Photo. I discovered a T1 can in fact pen an IS-3 in the lower side, and there Enfield sneaking a shot into the back of Photo Finish. Very nice.
And Photo Finish falls back and gets a shot on Anfield for 408. Nice hit coming from the Alpha Strike damage of the IS-3. Anfield misses a shot because Photo Finish turned around. Photo Finish comes out, almost ready for the reload, and gets it for 405
and
again.
It tracked him as well. Absolutely brilliant. Just a fantastic shot from Photo Finish. That is exactly the ideal situation you want to be in. Track and pen your opponent. Overlord Prime as well taking damage. This is not looking good for Hammer Time. At the same time, Enfield is heavily damaged, and he is known to be the high damage dealer for Googly Bobbers. If he goes down, that could hurt the synergy of the Googly Bobbers in this match.
Zazie took a hit earlier on in that 5100 to the north. Photo Finish has got to be careful. If he overexposes himself, Zombie Food could be ready for it. Zombie Food around the corner.
Enfield angling into the building. Misses Photo, and now Photo gets to line it up and is able to take down Enfield. One of the top performers for Googly Bobbers is down, and now it is a 4v5 as far as tier 8s. Yes, there is damage on Overlord and Photo. Not enough to really give Googly Bobbers enough of an advantage. They're going to have to do something crazy to come back here.
We passed the 5-minute mark. One T1 is down for each side. And Hammer Time are still able to dictate what's happening in this match. I was concerned for Photo Finish because of Zombie Food's position, but those tanker train cars were able to give him enough cover. NYPD takes down Sovereign Zool. Both T1s down for GoBob. And that is going to limit not only eyes, ears, but also potential flag pressure, which could have made a big difference if Zombie Food, or not Zombie Food, but the Hammer Time tank that's in the north. Is that Zazie?
We've got Zazie and NYPD.
Okay.
Along with Son of Hail went off to the south. Never mind. The NYPD has Battle Buddy, Zazie, and he should be doing just fine. As long as he can find a tank and kill it, they can do it. Hammer Time can end this one on a 3-1.
Bananas takes a shot
That's NYPD
from
the north.
range.
Bananas needs to pay more attention, get a little better cover. He was not considering the fact that someone could be on the 6 line. Look out, there is. And now NYPD, along with Zazie, looks like they're going to go into the backfield.
Bananas still hugging close to the brick wall of 2 buildings. Spoon, Tuxilla, and Zombie Food in a Triforce position, staying together. Now Zombie moves north.
They're going to try and do the hit squad. No, because guess what? Drynitz is there. They have a T1 watching, and now tanks are going to get caught out in the open. Damage being dealt. Connections onto Spoon. Spoon desperately moves out into the open. They're going for it.
Tuxilla hit, and he falls. Drynitz able to get the kill. However, he's taking significant damage from Zombie Food. Spoon getting hit from behind. The T1, Zombie shuts that down. Spoon falls. Bananas in trouble. 2 tanks left for GoBob here. Zombie hit.
Drynitz is moving in, and he's going to be able to do enough damage probably to get the kills. One more shot.
And he gets it. And Hammer Time is able to do it. 3-1 ends the final map. Battle number 5, and a win for Hammer Time, which propels them further into their division, puts them in a better spot overall as they have 2 more battles for the rest of regular season group play.
Yep, they'll be facing River of Blood and then Refuse to Die. And if this match is any indication, I think they're going to be doing very, very well.
Yeah, that could actually launch them into second place, depending on how well Cunningham's is able to do for the rest of the season as well.
Right now, they're going to be adding 3 league points. They're sitting at 4 currently. That'll put them up at 7, which does, for right now, tie them with the Cunninghams. We'll have to see what the Cunninghams can do.
Yep. And they're going to be our last match of the night. They're going to be facing Fnatic. Impressive play from Go Bob on Mines with the WZ-132s. They could not recreate that success on any of the other maps.
Very unfortunate for them.
Yeah, it was. That draw on Ruinberg, too, was not good for them either.
They really needed the win. They could have done it, and they just did not take advantage of the time. They did not act as Googly Bobbers usually acts.
Yep.
And because of that, they were not able to find victory.
Battle number 3 will be Burn All Empires versus Refuse to Die. This battle is huge because both these teams are currently tied for second place. And depending on the final match of the night, they could be in second place at the end of tonight for their division. You do not want to miss this. Stay tuned. This match begins.